The story of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's association begins in the late 1980s, a time when the worlds of wealth, power, and influence collided in the glittering enclaves of New York City and Palm Beach. These were places where fortunes were made, reputations were built, and the social elite gathered behind closed doors, away from the prying eyes of the public. Trump, already a well-known real estate mogul with a flair for publicity, and Epstein, a mysterious financier whose origins were often the subject of speculation, found themselves moving among the same power brokers, celebrities, and socialites. Their paths crossed frequently at the most exclusive gatherings, where deals were whispered over champagne and alliances were forged in the shadows. Their early connection was not one of deep friendship or shared confidences, but rather a product of proximity and mutual benefit. In these rarefied circles, relationships were often transactional, built on the understanding that association could open doors and create opportunities. Both men frequented the most exclusive clubs, attended lavish parties, and appeared at high-profile charity galas. These events were more than just social occasions. They were arenas for expanding influence, cultivating connections, and reinforcing their positions within the upper echelons of society. The relationship that developed between Trump and Epstein was, by all accounts, a friendship of convenience rather than intimacy. For more than a decade, their association was marked by public appearances and mutual acquaintances, but lacked the hallmarks of a close personal bond. Still, their visible connection did not go unnoticed, and it would later become a focal point for public curiosity and media scrutiny. What was once an unremarkable association, just another link in the vast web of high society relationships, would years later be re-examined through a much darker and more critical lens. As Epstein's criminal activities came to light, every photograph, every shared event, and every casual remark between the two men was subjected to intense analysis. The seeds of future controversy were sown in these early interactions, establishing a clear and undeniable link between Trump and Epstein. Their shared history, once a footnote in the annals of high society, became a central thread in a much larger and more troubling narrative. As Trump's political ambitions grew and he launched his campaign for the presidency, this link would become a significant point of contention. Reporters and political opponents alike seized on the connection, raising questions about judgment, character, and the company he kept. The stage was set for a complex and controversial narrative, one that would unfold under the relentless glare of public and media scrutiny, and would continue to shape perceptions of both men for years to come. In the 1990s and early 2000s, the social interactions between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were not only public, but also extensively documented by the media. Their appearances together at various high-profile gatherings were captured in countless photographs and news segments, making their association a matter of public record. The two men were often seen mingling at exclusive events, their camaraderie on display for all to see. They were frequently photographed together at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, as well as at other lavish parties attended by celebrities, business moguls, and politicians. These images, splashed across tabloids and news outlets, cemented their association in the public eye and fueled ongoing speculation about the nature of their relationship. One particularly notable piece of footage from 1992 shows Trump and Epstein at a private party, laughing and chatting as they observe women on the dance floor. The casual, almost familiar way they interact in these videos suggests a level of comfort and mutual understanding that went beyond mere acquaintanceship. Trump's name also appeared in Epstein's flight logs, indicating that he had traveled with Epstein on at least one occasion. While these records confirm that they spent time together, it's important to note that this alone does not implicate Trump in any criminal activity. Still, the presence of his name in such documents added another layer to the public's curiosity and concern. In a 2002 interview, Trump famously described Epstein as a terrific guy who likes beautiful women, many of them on the younger side. This quote, which seemed innocuous at the time, would later resurface and haunt Trump as Epstein's criminal activities came to light, raising uncomfortable questions about what Trump may have known. Alongside the flight logs, Epstein's infamous black book contained Trump's contact information, further illustrating the extent of their social connection. These records, discussed widely in the media, painted a picture of a visible, acknowledged friendship that was hard to ignore. Over time, as Epstein's crimes became public, Trump's narrative shifted dramatically. The contrast between his earlier praise and his later denials of closeness with Epstein became a focal point for journalists and critics, highlighting a dramatic change in his public stance. The extensive documentation of their interactions, spanning photographs, videos, and written records, forms an unavoidable backdrop for all of Trump's subsequent explanations and public statements about Epstein. For a significant period, Trump and Epstein were not just acquaintances, but friends who moved comfortably within the same elite social circles, their friendship witnessed by many and chronicled by the press. The story of Donald Trump's falling out with Jeffrey Epstein has become a key part of the public narrative surrounding their relationship. Trump has repeatedly claimed that his friendship with Epstein ended abruptly around 2004, pointing to a business dispute as the main reason for their split. According to Trump, this disagreement was significant enough to sever all ties between the two men, who had previously been seen together at social events and in the company of mutual acquaintances. Trump also alleges that he took decisive action by banning Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach. He claims this ban was due to Epstein's alleged inappropriate behavior toward the underage daughter of a club member. This detail is often highlighted by Trump and his supporters as evidence that he acted swiftly and firmly to distance himself from Epstein, even before any criminal charges against Epstein became public knowledge. By emphasizing these actions, Trump's narrative positions him as someone who took a moral stand, distancing himself from Epstein well before the latter's crimes were widely reported. This version of events is frequently cited in interviews, press conferences, and official statements, reinforcing the idea that Trump was proactive in cutting ties. However, the details surrounding their falling out remain shrouded in uncertainty. There are conflicting reports about the exact nature of their dispute, and little independent verification exists to confirm Trump's account. Some sources suggest the split may have been less dramatic, or that their association continued informally for some time afterward. Despite these ambiguities, it is generally accepted that their public association ceased in the mid-2000s. Photographs and social appearances featuring both men largely disappear after this period, supporting the idea of a significant break. This break has become central to Trump's legal and public defense, serving as a firewall between him and Epstein's later criminal activities. By highlighting the timing of their split, Trump seeks to distance himself from any implication of involvement in Epstein's crimes. By establishing a clear and decisive split, Trump argues that he was not close to Epstein during the period when the most serious allegations and criminal acts took place. This narrative is intended to shield him from accusations of deeper involvement or complicity. The story of a decisive and principled split has remained a consistent part of Trump's response to ongoing questions and accusations. It is a narrative repeated in media coverage, legal filings, and public statements, shaping how the public perceives his connection to Epstein and the broader scandal. After Epstein's 2019 arrest, Trump, then president, launched a public campaign to distance himself. He repeatedly told reporters he hadn't spoken to Epstein in years, insisting, "I was not a fan of his." Trump's comments about Ghislaine Maxwell, "I wish her well," sparked controversy and criticism. He framed their interactions as typical of Palm Beach society, downplaying any special connection. The strategy was clear: portray the relationship as ancient history, irrelevant to his presidency. Trump's distancing was a calculated move to minimize political fallout from their well-documented friendship. With every new revelation, the White House was forced to respond, keeping the story alive. Trump aimed to control the narrative, insisting he was as surprised by Epstein's crimes as anyone. Trump's shifting explanations for his Epstein connection have faced relentless scrutiny. The inconsistencies between past praise and later condemnation fueled accusations of opportunism. The scandal led to the resignation of Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta, who oversaw Epstein's lenient 2008 plea deal. Trump has framed the focus on his Epstein ties as a politically motivated attack, insisting he was deceived like many others. The controversy has become a lasting shadow, highlighting the risks of powerful associations. The story remains a potent symbol of the questions surrounding wealth, power, and accountability. The Epstein files have captivated the public, representing a trove of documents believed to expose his criminal network. Unsealed court records, flight logs, and contact books have fueled speculation, but revealed no definitive client list. Despite official denials, conspiracy theories persist, driven by distrust of institutions and a desire for accountability. The 2008 plea deal and Epstein's suspicious 2019 death continue to spark outrage and suspicion. Each new document release reignites public interest, pressuring authorities for transparency. The hunger for the Epstein files reflects a broader demand for truth and justice. Trump is not the only prominent figure linked to Epstein. The network included Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and others. Flight logs and contact books confirm social or professional relationships, not necessarily complicity. Association with Epstein has caused immense reputational damage, even without evidence of wrongdoing. Public figures have been forced to explain relationships that in some cases ended decades ago. Epstein used his connections to powerful people as a shield, helping him evade justice for years. The scrutiny faced by Trump and others is part of a larger story about power, proximity, and the dangers of elite circles. The legacy of Epstein's associations is a trail of questions and damaged reputations. The Epstein case is riddled with unanswered questions, fueling conspiracy theories and public distrust. His 2019 jail death, officially ruled a suicide, remains widely doubted due to security lapses and timing. The 2008 plea deal, which granted Epstein and his associates broad immunity, is still a source of outrage. The idea of a secret client list persists online despite repeated denials from authorities. The lack of definitive answers keeps the case alive in public discourse, shaping perceptions and political narratives. The Epstein saga remains an open wound, with mysteries that may never be fully resolved. The story of Trump and Epstein is one of documented association, public denial, and lingering suspicion. The record shows a decade-long friendship, but no direct evidence of Trump's involvement in Epstein's crimes. The distinction between association and complicity is central to the controversy. Trump's efforts to distance himself have often appeared self-serving, fueling skepticism. Epstein used connections to powerful men as social currency and protection. For Trump and others, the cost has been a permanent stain on their legacies. The association will remain a significant and controversial chapter in Trump's biography.